for not awarding them world ranking points. Just follow the rules. They don't meet the criteria right now based off their tour to be awarded world ranking points.
Shout out to Corey with a K, who shot me an email at bigboypantsgolf@gmail.com to let me know that the Golf Channel and its propaganda machine were at it again, trying to go after the LIV Tour for trying to get official world golf ranking points. But as I told Corey, I was already on it. Big Boy Pants Golf will never let the Golf Channel do this to your brain. In this episode of Big Boy Pants Golf, let's dive into all the reasons people give for not giving the LIV Golf Tour official world golf ranking points.
Should the LIV Golf guys be getting world ranking points?
If you're looking for the Cliff Notes answer, the answer is yes, and you can stop this video now. But if you want to know why, continue watching.
Why or why not?
Oh, I mean, very simply, I agree with what Billy Horschel says there. From my point of view, it's very, very simple. They don't meet the criteria.
Paul McGinley and Brandel Chambly now try to make it seem as if there are these strict rules in place that have been brought down from the mountain by Moses, unchanged, and there are no exceptions until the exceptions are brought up, and then they awkwardly try to dismiss them or distance themselves from these exceptions.
The criteria has been set in stone for a large number of years. It's been tweaked a little bit over the years, and we've just seen a recent change in it.
Literally, the largest changes to the official world golf ranking system occurred early August, as in last month.
But the main fundamentals have remained the same, 72 holes and cuts and all of the stuff with it.
What will be revealed, in fact, is the arbitrary and whimsical nature of those deciding when to apply the rules and when you can use exceptions to these rules and still get official world golf ranking points.
Yes, there's the odd tournament in there that maybe gets points, a smaller field.
Just off the top of my head, you have the Century Tournament of Champions, the Hero World Challenge, and the FedEx Cup Final. They all have less players in them than the LIV Golf Tour of 48 players. The World Match Play Championship only has 64 players. The last Hero World Challenge had 3 tournament exemptions: Sam Burns, Matthew Fitzpatrick, and Justin Rose. This is the tournament that is the thorn in the side to the PGA Tour and the official World Golf Ranking Committee right now. The last event had 20 players. You can see Victor Hovland got 48 points for winning. And then for last place, Jordan Spieth got 2.4 official World Golf Ranking points. You would have had to have finished around 15th place at last week's Italian Open to get the 2.4 official World Golf Ranking points.
But I think the big point here is they do not fit the criteria. And my question would be, who made them the boss?
I think the better question is, who made the whole entire official World Golf Ranking board, which includes Jay Monhand and Keith Pellety, the bosses? How do they get to determine what the criteria is to get official World Golf Ranking points? And also, very notably, the exceptions that are granted, for example, for the Hero World Challenge. Why are these select few able to determine the general rules and who gets the exceptions to these general rules? And why doesn't LIV qualify for any of the exceptions?
Who made them to come in and create havoc in the ecosystem like they have done?
How dare LIV break up this golf monopoly?
And then come in with all of these demands.
You're saying the LIV guys?
Yeah, all of these demands. I want to play in the President's Cup.
Was it ever a requirement, especially for the international team, to play on the PGA Tour to get the points to qualify for the President's Cup team?
I want to play in the Ryder Cup. I want to be a member of the DP World Tour. I want to be a member of the PGA Tour.
These crazy demands that were just the norm between the PGA Tour and the DP World Tour and the other tours for so many years.
And who made them the boss to make all of these decisions?
And who made the current official World Golf Ranking Board that makes these decisions as to who gets official World Golf Ranking points?
What are they giving in return to the game of golf?
Paul McGinley creating new criteria for the LIV Golf Tour to fulfill in order to get official World Golf Ranking points.
And it's always demands, demands, demands.
I'm pretty sure as preparation for this segment today that Paul McGinley simply Googled LIV Golf and saw that LIV players send letter to OWGR chairman demanding world ranking points. So now everything is demands, demands, demands from Paul McGinley's perspective. Whereas the first paragraph or so of the actual article says that the LIV players ask for official world golf ranking points. Here is the letter that the LIV Golf Tour players actually sent. It's actually very politely worded, if you ask me.
And the bottom line is, you know, rules are rules.
Rules are rules, but the PGA Tour and the DP World Tour and the official world golf ranking system have made exceptions to their rules. So the next question then is, how do you qualify for the exceptions to the rules to get the exceptions that have been granted in other cases?
They don't fit the criteria. How can you have apples with apples in terms of determining the best players in the world when some are playing 54 holes and some are playing 72 with 150 players?
There is no standard apple in terms of a PGA Tour event. There are too many exceptions with limited fields or no-cut events, etc., that we would initially need to first define what the apple is before he can declare that the LIV Golf Tour is an orange. Even the argument that LIV Golf shouldn't get official world golf ranking points because it's only 54 holes is immediately nullified because of the recent BMW PGA Championship. It was reduced to 54 holes and they still got official world golf ranking points, as have rain-shortened tournaments on the PGA Tour in the past. There has to be better explanation as to why 54 holes qualifies if it's due to a weather situation versus rather than originally intended. But there are too many instances of 54 holes already getting official world golf ranking points. And think about tennis or the UFC. You have tournaments where there are best of 3 sets versus the Grand Slams, which are best of 5 sets. I'm not sure exactly how many the women play nowadays because I don't watch women's tennis. In terms of the UFC, you have some fights that are 3 rounds and some fights that are scheduled for 5 rounds. But you can still determine who the best players are, whether it be a 3-round or a 5-round fight.
And some are playing with such a small field.
Hero World Challenge, 20 players.
And then also, you know, the dynamics and the mentality of playing a shotgun start.
First of all, in terms of the shotgun start, golf tournaments regularly have people go off the first hole and the 10th hole off on different 9s. Second of all, a shotgun start may actually be more fair because you don't end up having a bad draw and going out in the morning in bad conditions and then having a disadvantage to players who tee off in the afternoon in better conditions, or vice versa. Paul McGinley is grasping for straws.
We talked about this before. Not playing the golf course in rotation is very different.
Yes, it's different, but how does that affect the validity of the scores or whether or not the players deserve official world golf ranking points? Come on, Paul McGinley.
But also the team mentality. We're going to talk a lot about team this week. They're highlighting the team is going to be more important than individuals soon in terms of what their product is going to be going forward, and that's where they're going to get a lot of return on investment.
But correct me if I'm wrong, all the golfers will be trying to play their best golf, trying to win the golf tournament on an individual level, or to help their team also shoot the best scores. And so, Paul McGinley, I don't understand your point here. How does the fact that there's a team aspect with, remember, again, an individual first place prize of $4 million to the winner, how does that team aspect affect whether official world golf ranking points should be given or not? You're really just babbling right now.
Is the value in these teams. So the mentality for playing for the team, as we all know, is very, very different.
Yes, there is a team aspect, but again, you're just trying to shoot your best score because it helps you both on an individual level and a team level.
My record as a team player was far superior. I was in much higher rank in the world as a team player than I was individually. It's a very, very different mentality.
On the topic of teams and trying to bend the official world golf ranking rules to get points, don't forget about the only 2-man tournament, the Zurich Classic on the PGA Tour. In 2017 or so, the PGA Tour actually tried to get official world golf ranking points for the team event. Just keep this in mind.
So they're not coming in with the criteria that are set.
But no issue with the PGA Tour trying to get official world golf ranking points for a two-man team.
You know, why should all the rest of golf have to change because they want to come in and demand? Because they're doing a different product.
You mean a different product like the Zurich Classic two-man teams, which the PGA Tour tried to get official world golf ranking points for? Or do you mean the match play tournaments, which are a different standard format? Or the Stableford system, where the guys got points if you made a eagle, birdie, etc., and then lost points if you did bogey or worse, or whatever that was. Point being, there are many different formats that you accepted or tried to get through the Zurich Classic format. But as long as you're playing with the regulation golf clubs on a regulation course with the same size hole and as per the USGA rules of golf, you're playing golf by the rules. And remember, LIV Golf not only plays by the USGA rules, they brought over Slugger White, who presided over the USGA rules on the PGA Tour for many decades.
They're doing a different product. And if they come in with a similar product, you know, when I certainly mean in terms of size of fields and cuts and stuff like that.
But the format, the size of fields, and whether or not there's a cut, etc., is not uniform or standard. There's variations on all these points, so why are you pretending there's this imaginary standard that only LIV doesn't abide by?
Let me counter with this. Hero World Challenge.
Paul McGinley, time to disavow the Hero World Challenge.
Was that 20 players? Tiger's event. They award official world golf ranking points. What's the difference?
I mean, that's a one-off. It's a one-off.
It's a one-off, but it does exist. So why can't we have 14 more one-offs next year for the LIV Golf Tour?
They're doing it every, you know, and I agree that probably should be changed and will be changed. And yeah, I wouldn't be in agreement of that tournament getting it, although a lot of...
Still didn't answer the question, Paul McGinley. Why does the Hero World Challenge, whether it be a one-off or not, get official world golf ranking points? And I don't care if you were for or against it. It exists and it has existed for years.
The argument the other side was a lot of people qualified for that. You know, you qualified for it.
McGinley says a lot of people qualified for it. You qualified for it. A lot, not all? Are they still giving out special exemptions to get into the Hero World Challenge, and then you automatically still get, I don't know, 2.4 points for finishing in dead last place no matter what?
You know, you don't have to qualify. You get chosen to play in the LIV Tour.
The LIV Golf Tour could set up qualification criteria just like the Memorial Golf Tournament and then get its players in that way. And then the ones that didn't qualify under that criteria, they could offer special sponsors exemptions to, just like the Memorial Golf Tournament.
And, you know, every single tournament that they play is the same.
So you just said a little earlier that the PGA Tour has a traditional format that should be followed. But the PGA Tour doesn't have a traditional format because they have different size fields, no cut events, match play, etc. And now, because the LIV Golf Tour has the same format, this is an issue to you?
In terms of getting world rankings, at this moment in time, I don't see that happening, and I don't agree with it happening in any way, shape, or form, because they're a very, very different product than what we already have in golf.
Paul McGinley gets all his talking points done repeatedly if you watch the actual interview, and then you can look over and see Brandel Chambly. He's loving it, just loving it. And Paul McGinley's happy because the Southeast Asian man who's under the table pressing a fork into McGinley's thigh has eased up a little bit.
First of all, I never agreed with the Hero World Challenge getting world ranking points. I always thought it was a mistake.
I would love to see video of Brandel Chambly denouncing the fact that the Hero World Challenge gets official world golf ranking points before this year.
But it is a one-off, to Paul's point, and to your point about who makes them the boss, I have no doubt that they are being told what to say. They've all been given talking points.
It's hilarious that Brandel says this right after you can see that Paul McGinley was told what to say and given talking points. it's not the same product. It's not the same. It's not apples to apples.
The world rankings, as you kind of pointed out, have been around since 1986.
It's been around since 1986. And once you account for the change this past August, it's been modified 18 times since 1986. The methodology isn't set in stone.
And when I listen to and read that LIV says that this undervalues the fact that they're not getting world ranking points, it undervalues the validity of the official world golf rankings.
It kind of makes sense that if Cameron Smith, Dustin Johnson, Brooks Koepka, Patrick Reed, Bryson DeChambeau aren't included in the official world golf rankings, then this makes you question the validity of the official world golf rankings. But I'm sure Brandel Chambly has a different opinion.
I would argue and say, no. It underpins the legitimacy of the official world golf rankings because these provisions have been set in place.
Yes, these official world golf ranking provisions have been set in place, but changed now 18 times since 1986. And the PGA Tour, again, tried to get the two-man team Zurich Classic format inserted and submitted for official world golf ranking points consideration.
You alluded to a couple of the points where they don't conform. There's numerous ones. They don't have regional access to their events.
In terms of not having regional access to their events, if you look at the PGA Tour, you think, oh, Monday qualifier, that's your regional access. First of all, not every tournament on the PGA Tour has a Monday qualifier. There's only 25 of them in 21 to 22. The DP World Tour doesn't have this Monday qualifier system. And just last year, the DP World Tour started up Q School again. So I don't know what the DP World Tour's situation was in terms of regional access. But on the PGA Tour, if you're not in part of a certain special category, then you have to have a Thursday qualifier to get into the Monday qualifier and fight for 4 spots among 50 to 150 people. Not that much access on a regional level.
You're bought to participate in these events.
You mean being given appearance fees for multiple tournaments on an upfront basis?
There's no full member ascension to these events. You ascend to these events when they decide to buy you.
How is this any different than a young golfing star getting an appearance fee to show up overseas at a tournament before he's built up a strong professional golf resume?
There's no cuts in these events. The size of these events, they're whatever, 54 players. They're
48 right
I'm sorry,
now.
excuse me, 48 players.
The Hero World Challenge and the Tournament Century of Champions tournament, along with the final FedEx Cup tournament, are all tiny fields and all pretty much negate your fields are too small for LIV Golf Tour to get official world golf ranking points argument.
And I have no doubt that in the provisions somewhere, they would not like to see a tour funded by a government with such discriminatory practices.
This has already been covered by Big Boy Pants Golf, but in 2019, Keith Pelly had the first European Tour event in Saudi Arabia, the Saudi International. They got criticized for it, and they still went back the following year. So it's a little bit weird that Brandel Chambly, knowing by now that probably a lot of people know this fact, is still going to try to bash the Saudi money.
By that government. This would be, at least in my view, akin to allowing, at the time it was called the South African Tour, under apartheid, tournaments played there to accumulate world ranking points. So
I'm pretty sure that the players that played in the 2019 and 2020 European Tour sponsored Saudi Invitational event all got official world golf ranking points.
To Justin Thomas's point, to Billy Horschel's point, to your point, they simply don't conform.
If you look past all these general rules and look at the exceptions that have been used despite the general rule, the LIV Golf Tour would qualify for official world golf ranking points if you applied the exceptions to them as well. So let's not just look at the general rule, but let's look at the exceptions that have been put in place in the past for other fields, whether it be a one-off or not, And then you have to ask, why can't these exceptions be applied to the LIV Golf Tour?
LIV to thinking that they're entitled to their way, not by conforming to the rules, but by applying pressure to everybody that is there to administer the rules.
This sounds exactly like what the PGA Tour did in 1994 when the FTC antitrust lawyers recommended, after a 4-year investigation, that the PGA Tour be investigated for anti-competitive practices. But the PGA Tour, Tim Finchem at the time, pressured Congress to pressure the FTC not to investigate, and there was no investigation. You can look it up. It's an LA Times article from 1995.
And those players, by the way, took a massive risk, because as Billy Horschel said there, and Trevor Immelman said, when every one of them signed up to go with LIV, they knew the consequences. They were told over and over and over the consequences, so you can't have any sympathy for them. And they're relying now on a court case to try to get their way.
You mean they're going to court to see if the law has been violated by the PGA Tour so that they can go play where they want to as independent contractors? Maybe the best example of how arbitrary the official World Golf Ranking Committee can be, at least Keith Pelley, is the fact that Patrick Reed has a lifetime membership on the European, now DP World Tour, despite never having won outside of the United States at the point he received this lifetime membership to the DP World Tour.